Hello, everyone. A little later than expected, but I'm here now. Again, just to say welcome to the Dr. Inia Adesanya show. I'm very excited to be here this evening, or wherever you are this day. So this is Dr. Inia Adesanya, and really appreciating everyone that has been connecting, watching, being there just to really, support this platform. Thank you for those that have appeared. Thank you for questions that have been answered. And again, really appreciate everyone that has been here. All right. So today I have another interesting topic, and I'm going to tackle something that, a lot of people have issues with, especially SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises. They have issues with. Of course, the goal of this platform is to make sure that SMEs do what thrive. So I'm going to talk about some another topic that I know is going to be very interesting. So today we're talking about what brand awareness. Now, I just feel that this is another important topic because a lot of SMEs struggle with this. And I'm just going to give you 6 ways to, to have your brand out there, 6 steps to create brand awareness for your SMEs, right? I know that there are 10 steps, there are 15 steps, there are many people have so many things to say about this, but I just feel that these steps I'm going to mention, to me, I just felt that this is really the top of it all. Again, that's my opinion. That's mine. I'm sure there's some marketing specialists out there that will tell you that it's not really what I'm saying because they have 10, 15 steps, okay? And that's good. But I just feel that I'm connecting with, practical, those that are in it, right? This is not theoretical, and this is not, of course, it's educational, but it's not just theory, right? So I try my best to put in practical knowledge based on my experience, right? And experience of a couple of others, right, out there, right? Okay. The very first step in having your brand out there, creating brand awareness is to identify your brand. Now, you might be in business, you've been in business for so many years, and I have to say kudos to you. You might be a startup, or you might be someone that is an SME that has been in business for a couple of years, not maybe I shouldn't say so many, but a couple of years. And people don't really know why are you here? What is really, what is it that is so unique about your product, about your service, right? What is it that people can say, okay, this is Dr. Inia Adesanya's accounting platform. What is it that, for example, or this is example, Jack and Jill restaurants, what is really out there, right? What is it that people know about you? What can they identify when it comes to, your brand, your item? So, that's the very first thing I would say. Step one, let people know about what is your brand all about, right? How do I identify? What is it like? How do I identify what my brand is all about? What is it? Why am I here? What are you? What is it? What is it? What is the brand? And this is sometimes it comes up. Oh yeah, I know what I'm. But sometimes you have to think. You have to say, okay, I've not really sat down to think about that, but let's look at it. And if you're an existing business, you can draw from some things, right? You can say, okay, maybe your customer says something that, oh, this is so unique about your business. And you can draw on that. Somebody say, oh my goodness, as for your restaurant, there's something spectacular. Maybe it's your customer service. Maybe a specific meal you have, you know? What is it all about? All right. What is your brand all about? That's number one. Step one. Step two is the story. What is the story behind your brand? A lot of people identify with stories. A lot of people, you tell people that, oh, I decided to go into this because, I wanted to give back. I wanted to make a difference in my community. I wanted to make sure that that there's somebody out there that I can reach because of one thing or the other. I want to make it. I mean, I've seen a lot of times that, oh, that this meal, there's a lot of meals that are use some kind of byproduct, But I want to use natural ingredients to, maybe I'm into burgers. What makes yours different, right? So what is your story? What is the story behind your brand? And I mean, so many of you might think, oh, but you know what? I don't really have a story. Dig in, think. There must be something that made you get into this business. Some people will say their parents, some people will say, oh, I just felt that I needed to make a difference. It could be anything. It could be anything. All right. So the issue here is, what is your story? You're an SME. Okay. What is your story? What is the story behind this product that you have, this service? A lot of people like identifying with stories. I know it's hard to, but my product is very fantastic. Some people don't even care about that product, but they actually identify with your story, and they said, you know what, I will buy as many as possible because I support this product. I support the story behind the product. So not really the product, not that they have anything against the product, but they support the story behind the product. I hope that it makes sense to anyone listening here, because a lot of times we don't recognize that people can be very sentimental, right? Very sentimental. So step 2, what is the story behind your brand? Okay. If you don't have the story, go and sit back and make sure that story is out there. Okay. Step 3, visibility. Let me get this off. Step 3, visibility, right? Now, when you have said, okay, what you've decided on, okay, what is your company about? You've also looked at okay, the story behind it. The next thing is visibility. But when I'm looking at visibility, I'm not just talking about coming out and talking about your brand, right? That's also good, but it's beyond that. When we talk about visibility, we look at your logo. We look at your website. We look at, business cards, anything that makes it visible. Okay, that is step 3. Now, your logo should represent your brand, right? Your logo should not be off point. It should not be, okay, I love this logo, but it has nothing to really, it doesn't really relate with what you're doing, right? So a lot of people have logos that actually sort of relate with their brand. Now, this visibility is so important. Now, you can change your website easily. You can rearrange your website eventually, but when it comes to your logo, and for people to, right now, you might not be a household name like many of these big companies, but guess what? They started small. And it's very important for you to do your best and really get a logo that represents what you're doing. Okay? A logo that represents your brand, right? Is connected, right? And when you get someone to create your logo, let them speak to them. Tell them this is what you're looking at. There are very great artists that will say, okay, I got that. Okay. And then they will bring it out in a way that will really reflect what you're looking at. Okay. What you want to do. Okay. So what you want to do, if it's service, what you want to sell, if it's product. So very important, visibility. Get your logo out there, because, when you grow and grow and grow, it's likely to be very expensive for you to change your logo. And, I'm not saying you can't change it, but, if you're everywhere, right, it's going to be more expensive to change, that logo, right? It's more expensive. All right. So make sure you have somebody that knows what he or she is doing. And I won't even say what he or she is doing, because a lot of times, sometimes many people do not identify, or should I say not identify, they do not discuss, they do not tell people, like the artists, what is it that they want. I mean, like me, in my practice, I ask a lot of questions. I ask the client a lot of questions. The reason why I'm asking the client is that so I can have a mindset of, or have a mind, well, I won't say mindset, but I'll have an understanding. The word is understanding of what this man or this lady's goal is down the line. Because with that, I can advise my client well, right? I can advise my client if I say, okay, this is what this lady or this is what this man wants to do down the line. All right. So it's very, very important. Okay. For us to understand, as a CPA, as an accountant, a tax accountant, I like to know so that I can advise my clients correctly, right? Just like the logo, right? Creativity requires some kind of input from the owner of that product. Okay, when I say product, I mean the logo, because you are the owner of that logo. That is your brand. People will see the logo and say, oh my goodness. Now, we know when we see our phones, we have the, what do you call it, the Apple sign, and we have other, Google signs and everything, which is a very common sign out there, a common product out there. And this is the product. I know that at that time, people wonder, okay, but why is it Apple? But well, now it's a brand name. And it has always been that from when it started. All right. Okay, so that's visibility, step 3. Step 4 is know your primary and secondary market. I know, when I say, well, I'm talking about target market, primary and secondary target market. Let me explain to you what that means. Well, no, we're talking about branding, right? Now, let's say, and a lot of fast food restaurants do this. They create games, game set or game area for kids. And some kids can actually wear their parents out by saying, oh, mom, oh, dad, I want to go to this place to go and play, right? They are marketing for that fast food restaurants. Their marketing, you see, is not the primary market, target market. That's the secondary target market. You see what I'm saying? That, we see it sometimes, when you're, a professional and you see that, you just smile because you know what's happening, right? People might say, oh, that's very nice. Or they created a space for kids. This is very nice. They have a reason. Right? And some very large departmental store even have play spaces for kids, so that even, I know that, mothers or people that have kids or fathers will say, okay, you know what, let me have some time so I can go and shop. So when you come to secondary market, that was an example of, okay, yeah, that when I look at big departmental store, yes, I know that some parents will say, okay, yes, I have a place for the kids, right? But I know that when it comes to these kids that really like, of course, kids like fun, but that is an area that is a secondary target market. So what people do when they're, getting their brand out there, they look at the secondary, because the secondary can influence the primary market, target market. You see what I mean? So you have to look at it. That's just an example of a fast food restaurant. You could look at your product and see how that product, and it might not be kids and kids and their parents. It could be anything. Your secondary market could be any market, any secondary market out there, right? It could be any secondary market out there. right? You have to look at what works. I just used an example of the fast food restaurants, right? Because you would think, okay, I thought it was just a play space for the kids. Nope. Some kids say, oh, I want to go and spend some time there. I want to go and spend. That is bringing someone there to the fast food joint, restaurant. Okay, so that is number 4. Look at your primary and your secondary target market, because your secondary market can actually ensure that your primary target market can really get to know your brand. And of course, when your brand is out there, what happens? What happens, everyone? Sales, jumps up. Your sales, if everybody's, oh my goodness, I love this. Your sales goes up. All right. So that's the next point. Right. The very next one is be a champion for your brand. Let everyone have a great experience when they come and use your brand. I mean, people go, some places go above and beyond. I have places that restaurants that actually send me gift maybe coupons or discounts because they have my birthday. They know my birthday and they always send me things like that, right? Be a champion. Let people be a champion for your brand. Look for ways that will make people understand that they're not just a number. They're not just, oh yeah, okay, a number out there, just sales. I want to get money from them. No, let them see that, all right, this company really cares about their customers. There's some, let me give you another example. There's some examples of some, I've heard some really, really beautiful stories how some airlines, people forget things and they go out of their way to locate that person, not just keeping it somewhere, and they locate that person and even, follow up, and the person gets so excited that, oh my goodness, wow, because the person never knew that he or she left that item there, right? So that is above and beyond. That is, yes, we're talking about, when you look at, that's an example of an airline. Of course, there are so many choices out there. Honestly, if somebody cares about me like that, unless that flight is not available, I will definitely go with that airline. Yeah, I will definitely go with an airline that really, 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 really is concerned about me. So think of anything and everything that pertains to your industry. Yes, you might say the airline industry. I gave that example because it's a large industry. They shouldn't even care. They shouldn't care because, of course, people will always fly, right? They shouldn't, but some really, really go out of the way to care, right? So if they can do that, SME should also think of ways to make a difference, to be the champion of their brand. Make it that it's not about the money. It's not about the numbers. Oh, I have the highest sales. No, that's not. It's about taking everybody, making sure that everybody is noticed, is everybody is feels that they matter, that they mean something. Whether you're in the service industry, right? Or you're in the product, you sell products. Do something that people will say, oh my goodness, this makes a difference. And I remember that I buy items sometimes on retail items on some websites. There are some peculiar retail items on, sometimes I like some peculiar things. And I know sometimes when they send things, they put a thank you card. Oh yeah, things like that. Right. And I think I really feel that that's something. Right. So I could go on and on, but what I'm trying to say is that, or what I'm saying here is that you should be the champion of your product. Be the one that carries it and you make a difference in anybody's life that is using your product. Yeah, I get so excited when I get coupons or discounts for my birthday. I said, oh my goodness, I don't remember I, gave, sign up for emails and things like that, but it's really beautiful. It's really nice, right? So that's something that I would say is a plus. So that is an example. You have to look at what works for you. Remember, we're looking at what brand awareness, because I know a lot of times I get questions like that. Oh, I mean, people have been in the business for so long. How do I come out? How do I show up? How do I make a difference? How do I, let people know about my brand? All right. So that's one of the ways. Even when I talk about being a champion, I mean, you have to also find out, is there something that your competitor is not doing that you can also be better, right? Do better. Remember, you have to be the champion, subject matter expert, everything for your what brand. Is there something that is out there that you say, okay, this is their weakness. I'm going to take it up and make sure that this is not going to impact my company. People will see that. So, oh my goodness, that's a weakness in that A company, which is competing with my company. I love the way this B company does it. I'm going to go with this. And sales starts going up. Now, you're not going to let your customers know that it's about sales or about increasing sales, but when you do all this stuff, of course, your sales will jump up. Of course, your sales will increase for sure, right? Okay. The next step is you are to be your brand. How are you your brand? Now, I've seen a lot of times that people go out there and say, I'm this, I'm that. Oh, we believe in this, we're that, we're this, we have that mission and this. But when you go into their offices or you go and, you find out more about them, they're not living their brand. They're not doing what they say that they're not reflecting, who they say they are. What they oh yeah, we have what there's sometimes there's some things they'll say, oh, we believe in this, we respect all kinds of good things, good stuff, the brand right out there. But when you get closer to them, you find that oh my goodness, this is not what these people are. And a lot of people have lost a large chunk of customers or clients. And when you do that, what happens? Your revenue goes down. Your goal is not to reduce revenue. Your goal is not to lose customer or clients. Of course, that will lead to reducing of revenue. That's not your goal. Your goal is increasing revenue, and brand awareness should increase revenue. So if you're out there talking about your brand, fantastic logo, right? Everybody knows who and what you stand for. You're the champion out there. You are visible to everyone. You have your secondary target market. You are touching them, talking to them, getting to them, and then you're also dealing with the price, which actually is the one that actually spends the money. You're doing very well, but yet they find out that your customers start finding out that, oh my goodness, I actually really went with this person because of who they say they are, but they are not. This is not who they are. This is not who they are. That's not what you want to do. And this is something that you have to make a conscious effort to continue to check and recheck and make sure that you check what's happening in your company, check what's happening within your staff, even yourself. Some entrepreneurs are just entrepreneurs without staff, and so you are representing your brand. And when people see that, it's not only in the office. When you're out there, people will look at it and see. Let me see. Right? You have a brand. You have a brand, right? And I'm not saying things don't happen. I'm not saying people don't make mistakes and things like that. But make sure you're transparent. You missed it. You made a mistake, and you come forth and clear that with everyone, and make sure you're making amends to correct those mistakes, right? When it comes to your brand, all right? Because your goal is what? To have great brand awareness. I mean, sometimes, it will go beyond, it can go beyond, your locality. It just depends on what you are doing. Okay. Now, if you're into like you're a daycare, right? You're a daycare. Of course, that's a localized business, right? But there are some businesses that are not localized, right? I mean, restaurants are usually localized businesses. People drive to the restaurant, but there are some businesses that you know, you can interact or you can purchase stuff around from everywhere, anywhere. But even with restaurants now, with Uber and all those all those good transport, which other one, Lyft and so many. I could that one because it's common. I know that I'm not promoting any company here, but I know that there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's other companies like that. There's so many. You can Google it. It's all over everywhere. So, but you choose which one works for you. But you can see that restaurants now they go beyond just the locality, right? You can buy from anywhere. All right. So those are my 6 steps to increase your brand awareness, right? But remember, there are many more, depending on how you look at it. But I just felt that by experience and my knowledge and by just my own background and understanding how this brand awareness works. And of course, I definitely say that it's not just it's not just the educational part of it, right? You have to see what works for you. All right. This is just again sharing knowledge, but you have to see what works for you. All right. Okay, so let's go to our question segment. All right, I think I have my questions on my email right now. So let's see the first questions. The first question. I'm having issues obtaining funding from the bank for my business. What do I do? I mean, this is a very common problem, and I think I've addressed this before. I believe you have to check one of my shows. Yes, it might be difficult, but there's especially if you're a startup. But what banks do, okay, what banks do, sometimes you can be the guarant, the guarantor, or like should I say, you can sign a gap. The loan can come to you, but they will look at your personal maybe credit. Some banks actually give based on the entrepreneur's personal credit. So you might want to go that route. Another route is that a lot of loans are out there for SBAs, from SBAs, Small Business Association. There's there's some government loans out there. You have to ask your bank. Sometimes you don't know that these exist, but you need to talk to your bank and say, okay, is there any small business loan out there? For my company, a lot of times, especially if your company is seen as viable, they'll actually really do they'll give you funding, right? There are a lot of things they look at, different criteria for different banks. So you have to know what works best. Now, please, when you're looking at funding, make sure you look at the interest rate. I know that there are some people that will say, okay, you know what, I will fund your business, but you have to look at the interest rates. Look at the interest rate, okay, and see what works. Sometimes I've seen people that order products, right? They have the products, maybe they have a sample of the products, and they need funding to they already have the orders, right? Banks actually look at that. They'll say, okay, you already have the orders, and they'll back it and say, okay, based on this, the orders you have, we will go ahead and fund it. So there are very many different ways. So it might not just be you go into a bank and say, I want a business loan. You can ask some banks. Some banks do ask, okay, you want a business loan? What do you have a collateral? We can look at your own, because sometimes the business is very young, right? Very young, like a startup. When I say young, I'm talking about startups. So there's some options out there, right? A lot of government funding out there for small businesses. So I would say that you should approach it that way and see what is out there for you. It's okay? All right, for your business. Okay. The next question. I'm thinking of cutting my staff. Cutting. Okay. I'm thinking of giving my staff a 4-day work week as an incentive for my staff. Is it possible? Of course. I mean, first of all, I would say thank you for actually, or kudos. I would say kudos. Okay, kudos. I would say, and I would say thank you a bit because you've been listening. Because the good thing is that you have to retain your staff. You know, it's very expensive. For those that have not listened to this program before, there's a program or there's a show on retaining staff. But I want to really stress here that before, um, getting staff, good staff was not very difficult. But right now, getting good staff and retaining them very expensive. If you have staff turnover is more expensive. It's good to keep good staff. And I won't say it's very, I think I would say it's very expensive. Retaining staff is cheaper than staff turnover because staff turnover includes what? Cost of advertising for a new staff, downtime, right? When that nobody's working, training, when you get a new staff, background check. So it's more expensive, right? So I believe, yes, if you say you want to do a 4-day work week for your staff, kudos. But now, when you're looking at that 4-day work week, what are you looking at? Are you looking at getting that staff, the 4-day work week, to reduce their pay to that 4-day work week? So there's some analysis that have to come. You have to really sit back and see what works. Now, if you're before you do this, find out. When I say find out, I'm talking about talking to your staff. Find out what works for them. Now, if you're reducing their work week to 4 days, that would mean that you're not paying them a 40-hour work week. That would mean that you're paying them 8 times 4. You're paying them, let's see, 8 times 4, 32, right? 32 hours. All right? 32 hours. All right? Not 40. Depending on how you want your work week to be. Or you might say, okay, I'm giving you 40 hours, but I want you to work 10 hours a day. So for 4 days. So I don't know the structure, but I would say open for discussion with your staff. I see that when there's input from staff, because that would be the way to go, right? Let them say, okay, this is what you're looking at. Either they work a 40-hour work week, 4 days a week, or you know what, we are going to do 32 hours work week, right? And I will do it that way. So find out what works, and I'm not sure where you're looking at, the 40 hours, the 32 hours, or what works. But yes, I know that a lot of organizations have actually taken up that 4 days work week. And I've not really looked at how they do it, whether it's 40 hours or they do it 32 hours still, or they do it less. But I know that for the number of days, a lot of offices have taken up that 4 hours work week. All right. So that's one of the things that I've seen that it has happened. Okay. So then the next one I see is I want to buy a book of business to grow my business. Is that advisable? Okay. I want to buy a book of business to grow my business. Is that advisable? So those that don't know what a book of business is that, sometimes what happens is that some companies, because they want to expand, right? They buy a book of the customers, they get a book of business, which is there to add customers to their platform. Now, if you're saying a book of business, I would say it depends on what you do, right? It depends on what you do. Now, buying a book of business, not that it's bad, but it doesn't guarantee that the people that are in that book of business will remain with you, right? Let's say Miss A has a book of business and the person wants to retire or something, and the person transfers everything to you. Her customers might not really want you to be their customer. Maybe their It could be what their business, they might not want to do business with you. So buying a book of business is not bad, but I would say that as much as possible, I would say that the person that is involved, the person that sold it to you, I would actually recommend that the person be involved in the business for a couple of months. And and also talk to their talk to the to their customers, or usually the clients, and tell them, oh, this is what's happening. And and then even bring you on board and introduce you and have some meetings with these your potential or your new clients, right? So I would say go ahead and buy your book of business, but I would please say that just have an arrangement that the initial or the regional owner would have some kind of a meeting, or just have work with you. Or before you buy, let's say the agreement says you're going to buy, this is June, let's say the agreement says that by September, that you agree that everything has been done, that by September, everything will be relinquished to you. Everything, you get everything. Then from June to September, right? You can work with the start, or even earlier, maybe May. If you had, if you had thought about this thing in May, or let's say, okay, we're already in June, or maybe June to October, you just start coming in and getting introduced to the the clients that this person wants to pass to you. All right, because you don't want to buy a book of business and 50% of the people, 50% of the people, the book of business, right? And 50% of the people are what? Or your customers are gone. That's very costly, costly book of business, because at the end of the day, the reason that you have a book of business, you know why? You want the book of business to actually generate money, right? So you don't want to buy a book of business and at the end of the day, you're losing money. Okay? All right. Because usually a book of business for a lucrative business is not cheap. It's not cheap. But that business is lucrative because of the customers, right? So assuming something happens to the customers, what will happen to the book of business is it won't be, when I say something happens, I'm saying the customers leave you. So you don't want that to happen. Okay? All right. So the last one I'm saying is, okay, the last one, I believe, I think, or maybe we have one for after this, one more, okay? As a startup business owner, how do you prevent, how do I prevent myself from being burnt out? Okay. All right. I know, first of all, kudos that you're doing well, you start up and doing well, but many small businesses owners have this problem. As a small business, startup business owner, most of them have this problem. The reason why I'm saying that most of them have this problem is that you are, as a startup business owner, you're like the master of everything. Most of the time you are just struggling with resources, right? You become a marketer, someone that does websites. You do so much, right? As a startup business owner, it's just something else. It's really, really difficult to start. So everything is sort of actually weighed on you. You do so much. Now, as a startup business owner, right? How do you prevent yourself from being burnt out? What do you do? So this is what I advise everyone as much as possible to do. Put time off on your calendar. Put time off on your calendar. Say, this time I'm closing my computer. This time I'm going to play with my kids. I'm going to play with my spouse. I'm going to go out and play tennis. I'm going to do something, play volleyball, do something. You have to put it, it's like, as much as, we get so busy, if you don't put it on your calendar, you will not do it. Maybe twice a week, you have to put this on your calendar 3 times a week. Or sometimes people say, you know what, I am going to take a 3-day weekend, right? Or if you can't do a 3-day weekend, close on time. The work, I tell people, if you're not at your optimum, if you're not at your best, you can't do well. They call it the law of diminishing returns. You can't do well if you're not at your best, right? So you're working long hours, but you're not producing because you you're not you don't have, you're too tired. You're not putting your best because it's just too overwhelming. So I would say what I would say right now is that put time off on your calendar. Make sure you say, I mean, or put, in addition to putting time off, because sometimes people travel for something, or they travel, do something, or take time off for general, make vacation. But I'm not even talking about that vacation. I'm talking about, being able to stop where you have to stop, right? Or you know what, I'm not working beyond this time. Now, I know that sometimes you have deadlines. I get it. I get you have deadlines. But even with deadlines, right? You can actually tell someone that, you know what, let's give me time, I'll get this to you. You need to actually allocate time so that you will not be burnt out. You need to take time off for yourself. It's like, you remember we talked about thriving in business. It has to be intentional. Okay, time off, time to rest. It has to be intentional. I mean, I speak for myself. As I said, I'm not a medical person, but I speak for myself, because I mean, those that know CPAs, accountants, tax accountants, I work with people throughout the year, and sometimes deadlines are really deadly, deadly, because I have sometimes, I mean, I get so up, I mean, I think with adrenaline or something, because I need to meet that deadline. So I mean, sometimes even if I have to finish the work at 1 or 2 a.m. That sometimes it happens like that. Yes, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen like that. So I know that sometimes it's like that. But I try my best to take time to relax. I try my best to take time off, because sometimes when it's just so much that I have to finish the work, I mean, people ask, "Oh, you're sleeping so like the next day, or when I finish the work, I'm in bed by 6. Why are you sleeping so early?" I said, "You know what? I need to rest my brain." So time off could be sleeping on time. I mean, I've heard that if you don't sleep well, your health will not be okay. That's what I've heard. I'm not a medical person, but I'm talking about myself. And of course, medical people who have, they can analyze that for you. So you're asking me, how do you prevent yourself from getting burnt out? I would say, based on my experience, I put time slots for myself. I'm not going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. All right. So when I say I'm going to do, I mean, it could be, I don't play volleyball well. I don't play tennis well. But that is just to relax myself. I'm just, I just do that. So hopefully that would be something that you consider when you're looking at how to really relax and, not get burnt out. Because honestly, if you're ill, if you're sick, the work you can't do the work. You can't do the work if you're sick. So I just want to make sure you understand that. All right. Okay. So truly that's the last package. So the last package, which is the last section of my discussion right now. So hopefully, as I said, I could go on and on and on to talk about the brand awareness and brands, but I just picked 6. And I'm hoping that this will make a difference in somebody that is listening, in somebody's business that is, any business owner that is listening. Of course, educational, right? At least to form a kind of basis, a kind of foundation for you to, project or move forward, right? And again, this is something, as I said, this platform is for you to be intentional. I could go on and on, but if you're not intentional, it's not going to work. All right. See you next time. Right. And, it's great being here. So have a good one. Bye for now. And then I just wanted to put it out there. If you don't see me, I'm going to be on vacation next week. So if you don't see me, this coming next week, Tuesday, this coming week is my birthday week. So I'm going to take some time off. So if you don't see me, next Tuesday, know that because I'm just resting. So likely, very likely, the next time I'll see everyone will be on Tuesday, the 20th. All right. Take care. Bye for now.